is.
Welcome to Day One Pass Podcast, episode 288. I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. Tim Spence is back.
Hello.
Adriano Petty's back.
Hi.
And Matt's here.
Hey, what the hell kind of crap is that? Good God.
Some of the top stories today include Nvidia announcing the next generation of gaming hardware. We also have updates from the Batman Arkham Origins developer, who is not yet ready to show their game. The Xbox boss, Phil Spencer, is saying that the impact of COVID-19 is they're going to be fine. So no worries there. Epic Games, we saw an amazing tech demo. Did you guys all watch that?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And then
Yes,
Ubisoft also has announced a digital showcase for this summer. And also, I think the biggest news of the week, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2
Hell yeah.
remastered.
I noticed how you brought that out and it's not even in the doc.
It's not in the doc, no. But it's on the top of my mind.
Hell yeah, it is.
Actually, I've only ever played Underground 2.
Really? You
Tony
never
Hawk.
played Pro Skater?
I never, that was before my time. So, I'm going to read a fun fact here before we get started.
Yeah,
good.
fun fact.
We all need some cheering up during these times. So, here it is. NASA has found evidence of water on Mars, as well as trace amounts of Diet Sprite. There you go.
Is this from that little booklet again that you had?
This is from that booklet that's got to be 15 years old by this point.
Holy hell.
And Adriana went and bought it a couple years back. Somehow you found it.
Fantastic.
I won't hurt you guys with any more of those.
No, one more, man. One more.
One more? Just a random
One
one.
more.
You can choose randomly.
Pick a page.
Yeah. The ability to walk on water made it difficult for Jesus to swim.
No, it's
There
just
you
like World of Warcraft. As long as you aim your camera down and move forward, you'll go through the surface and you can swim.
But just his feet are probably on the top of the surface of the water.
Oh, you
Yes,
can do
so,
some upside down shit.
Yeah. No.
He's from the upside down.
Matt, what's new?
Me? Just hanging out, I guess.
No.
Yeah, it was my birthday this past week. So
Oh, that's right. Happy birthday, Matt.
well, thank you. So I've been I was just doing a 2-day quarantine celebration, and then we jumped into more 76 again, and we're shopping around. Marty and I were shopping around last night. We were looking for weapons for him and stuff like that because we're trying to equip him because he's like level 60-ish now. And yeah, like all of us are endgame, I guess is my point. So we're all kind of just doing our own thing. At this point, I also did like a bunch of Wastelanders last night as well for the first time. So I did the intro quests and then I did like a couple of the companion quests, or I did one companion's full quest line, but I hadn't done any of the main Wastelanders quests. So I did like 3 or 4 quests of that last night too. So more or less just been hitting the 76 hard, and then Call of Duty, of course, just sort of the two de facto games, the two de facto multiplayer games that I've been playing. So, but also, I guess my Animal Crossing has fallen into a depression this time.
It's not a recession.
No, it's because it's been over a week now. So I believe it's been over a week, or at least a week. So it is now in a depression.
You don't even at least boot it up once a day?
I don't know. It's been a long time.
Yeah,
Wow.
me neither.
Really?
I do it every couple days.
Yeah, so it's all over for Skin Grad. That's what's going on there. What was us?
Skin graft.
Ugh.
How about you, Tim?
Yep, again, more of the same, more Yakuza 0 and more WoW.
Yeah, Yakuza is long, right? Aren't those long games?
You can beat them if you just do the story and some basic side stuff. You can beat them in probably 15 to 20 hours. But if you're like me and you want to do all the side stuff too and see it through to the end, there's a number of side stories that are quite lengthy.
Here's a question: do you guys that has mini games in it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you actually play those things?
Not all of them.
In all games. I find that there's like in Red Dead, and I never really touched that stuff.
For me, it depends on if there's a worthwhile reward at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Yakuza 0, if you finish the Cabaret Club as Majima, you unlock his fourth fighting style, and if you do the Real Estate Royale as Kiryu, you unlock his fourth fighting style. So it's and it's the best one, so it's worth doing to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
Plus you get it's how you make money in those games. That's how you can unlock all the rest of your skills and things. So You pretty much
How about those
supposed
mini
to,
games
but
you were playing in Black Flag? I remember that was a treat for you.
the mini games for me?
Yeah, I remember you saying that it was on the hardest difficulty of one of the mini games. I think it was Black Flag, where you were playing chess or something.
Like doing chess, yeah. Yeah, and you have to find like the grandmaster for each of the like tabletop games, and the grandmaster of chess is your like assassin guild dude. I can't remember what his name is. The older black guy, whatever his name is.
Oh, it was in 3, Achilles.
Achilles. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of 3. Yeah, it wasn't in Black Flag. Yeah, yeah. There was, what was it, like checkers? I think he's the grandmaster of, and then like it's basically just sort of like RNG, the kind of moves that they'll make and stuff. So I'm like trying to follow a guide online on how to beat him, because I don't fucking know how to beat someone at checkers who's like really good at checkers. And it's like, oh yeah, just follow these moves, he'll do this, and you do this and you win. And I would follow it up to like step 3, and then step 4 he just didn't do the thing, he did something else. And I tried like 50 times. It was restart the match over and over and over and over and over, and he just never did the thing he was supposed to do. So I was like, all right, guess it's not happening. I gave up.
I somehow got watching people play chess on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
And what's
it's pretty
hilarious
big on Twitch too, actually.
What's hilarious is the titles of the videos are like, watch this incredible move, leaves the opponent like shocked, right?
Mhm.
And I'm watching, and like they're like really calm and nothing really happens, and then all of a sudden they shake hands and they're done.
Are you trying to imply that YouTube would have a clickbait title?
It's not a clickbait title.
No, it's probably legit to the right audience.
If
but
you
not
know
to us.
chess, you're probably like, holy Christ, look at
Yeah.
that move. But to me, I'm just like, I don't know what's going
Oh
on
god, he's broken in half!
here.
That man's got a family!
went diagonal.
Yeah.
Queen of QB, what the fuck?
Adriano.
Pretty much just same Hearthstone, a little bit of Overwatch. I did beat Doom 2016.
Hey,
Final
there you
thoughts?
go. It's kind of every time I thought I was going to go into the final fight, I just went for another level or two.
Yeah.
But it also was what's the robot's name? Vega. At the end, the robot that's dealing with you.
Oh, the guy who's like talking to you throughout?
Yeah,
I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
That sounds right, though.
Do we care about spoiler etiquette here?
I've played it.
I don't think I care about spoilers with Doom, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was going to play it, but I don't think people really played Doom for the story, so it's all
Yeah,
good.
it's super basic. He pretty much decides not to kill you, or he can't kill you, but then he kind of just leaves you there in a state, and then he takes the Ryan, do you remember what the hell that thing was called, the one that you were using to close the three portals?
I don't remember the crazy names in that game.
Yeah. So pretty much I have a feeling the second one's going to just kind of take off exactly where the first one left. That game is incredibly fun with the shooting and the combat. I very much enjoyed that. And there was always every once in a while, there's always that one run that would get me. It's like I couldn't figure it out. It's like, oh, these monsters would kill me here and this and that. So I would kind of refine my process. Be like, okay, I'm going to take these two out, and then I'm going to run over to this side to create distance. Oh, there's this guy that's popping up. I'm going to have to take out my rocket launcher, get this guy. Okay, that didn't work. Let's refine it this way. And I only ever died maybe 2 to 3 times on any one encounter before I was able to kind of like finesse my way through it and figure out the kind of method you had to do.
What difficulty are you playing on?
The standard normal.
Yeah.
Were you able to get like a flow going? I heard people online talking about how you need kind of like a rhythm as you're like jumping around the level and shooting and stuff.
Yeah, I never had to get into that flow. Like it was always just kind of there for me. I also know like you and Matt and I had this discussion about the mapping system, how you guys found.
Oh, it was abysmal.
I had no problem with it whatsoever. I knew exactly where I was going, whether it was by map or by visual waypoint in the distance, but I was totally fine with it.
I mean, I ended up figuring out where to go, but trying to use the map to say I want to go there, I found extremely difficult.
It was Yeah, I don't know, man.
I had to look
You're
up
one
a
of
video.
those. You're one of those guys that likes that Arkham games like map
That was
from
bad.
Vita. Well,
That was
what
real
was it?
bad.
It was a 3D world on
The
like
game-
a 2D map
No,
that
the
was
game-
over.
The game was
something?
2D.
The game was 2D or 2.5D, whatever the fuck they call it. But the map was a 3D map.
Top-down 3D map.
Yeah, that
What
was
the hell?
it was
Like,
weird.
who
That-
that
that
must have been
map-
hard to engineer. Like,
That map was confusing, I will admit. But Doom, I seemed fine. But other than that, working, reading, just trying to keep my sanity.
Well, we started Borderlands 3,
Oh, right. I totally forgot we did that.
which we should probably pick up this weekend.
Yeah, I was actually going to say I have 3 days off, so if we want to chip away at that. What do you think about Borderlands 3, Ryan?
I think it looks like Borderlands 1, 2, and the pre-sequel.
and now 3.
I will say that 2 looks nothing like 1. They are very artistically different games. 1 is very bland to look
the
at.
image of Borderlands in my mind is the same in all
Yeah.
3 games.
Mm.
The UI is
It's identical
is
to 2.
it's the UI. No, the actual like the meters and stuff like that. They've actually cleaned up a little bit between 2 and 3.
Mm.
It's the screen is still confusing as hell. Like you and I were trying to go through vending machine menus, and we were just
I think they made them worse.
I don't know. It was I think
The
it's-
visual aspect is cool, but to figure out what you're looking at is difficult.
there are some quality of life things they made better. Like when you open up any sort of chest with ammo or any sort of consumable, it automatically picks it up. You don't actually have to fucking pick it up.
Thank God.
Quests now complete when you complete them. You don't actually have to go turn them in, unless there's like for whatever reason. If we have to like do a choice, I think we'll have to go pick and
Or like a
choose.
story element if they need
Yeah.
characters to talk to each other or something.
Exactly, but if it's just a side quest, and instead of going back to whoever crossed the map, we can it literally just cuts it in right there. But other than that, I've been browsing some subreddits, and I'm on the Japanese game show subreddit again. So watching weird Japanese clips. Fact here, I'm going to send you guys one right now. I want you guys to open it up.
Just open it.
Open it up and watch that.
You had it ready to go here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty quick one. You're like, I'm gonna open this up, and then you already hear like click.
Oh, it
Must
was
be
it was-
18 plus to view.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
going on here, Adriano? What am I? What the heck are we doing here? And we're live here.
Oh, I remember this one.
Oh no. Oh no, what am I looking at?
I'm already seeing something questionable.
Oh my god. I mean, that's impressive. I gotta admit.
but then when he does it, like they all like gather together in celebration.
Because he freaking did it.
Yeah.
I
So
like how the top comment
Adriano,
on that is
just for the
just-
listener out there, since this is an audio show, please describe
no,
what you've said.
I think it's funnier if we don't. Let's just not mention what it is. And just move on.
Classic.
The one guy slips and falls into the pool.
Yeah.
I like that the top comment on that is just squeak.
So that's a lot of my time.
Wow.
Thank you, Adrian.
Time well spent.
I have platinumed Spider-Man. Marvel's
Nice.
Spider-Man.
Ooh,
With a DLC tier
So-
space game.
In me and Matt's ongoing Platinum War.
I feel
I
like
had to-
that war, you've already won it.
I don't know. I pulled together over this this quarantine. I pulled together 3 platinums.
That's what I'm saying.
3 or 4. I'm saying you can do the same thing.
The
You don't play,
difference.
you don't
the-
play single player games anymore.
I don't play single player games, and the next thing is there's a real difference between you like jump between games, but you don't like play one for a long time. Whereas
Right.
I played Spider-Man to platinum, and then I
Right.
moved to the next, where you had like in that period of time had played 3 games, but just the stories of each.
Yeah.
So you're going back and doing the last 20 to 40% ish of the trophies, whereas most of my older games, I've either not done the platinum because I didn't want to do it, or it was due to whatever reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was because something was too hard or whatever.
Spider-Man is a hard game to get back into. The combat system is tough to kind of just pick up and play.
Yeah.
Especially with the different enemy types, and you have to know certain techniques on how to actually defeat them.
They're different tells and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so I've gotten used to it, but I'm still getting my ass kicked. There's these in the DLC. There's these missions where you gotta like clear out these warehouses, and they send wave after wave of guys at you. And it took me, I don't know, maybe like 20 tries to get through this one warehouse. It was nuts.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think the hardest thing that I did in Spider-Man, and I only did the platinum of the base game, I didn't do the DLC. The hardest thing for me, even though it wasn't even necessary, was getting gold in all the Taskmaster trials.
Oh yeah.
I think you only had to get silver, but I was just like, I want to get gold on them. So
Is the Taskmaster similar to the Riddler trophies or Riddler riddles in Batman?
No, they're just like beat these guys up in this one area.
Yeah, it's basically like combat trials or like
chase this drone through the city.
Yeah.
I really didn't like the Taskmaster. I thought he was underutilized to the point where they shouldn't have even had him in there.
Well, I don't think Taskmaster's that big of a villain in the Marvel universe. So he kind of is perfect for just those side missions.
I just feel like those missions, of all of them, stood out in my mind as being weak. I don't really think of any of the rest of the game as being
kind of
weak
felt
at all.
tacked on.
Yeah,
well,
it's
just because like everything else in that game, like every decision, everything in the world that you touch, like it has an impact, and that was definitely the only thing in the world that like felt like no matter if you did it or not, it didn't have an impact in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just why it felt kind of tacked on, but still fun to do. It's like a challenge.
But before we move on to the news, I'm going to read one last Late Show fun fact. I got a pretty good kick out of this one.
Oh my god!
Herb Peterson, the inventor of the Egg McMuffin, died choking on an Eggo waffle. There you go. All right. I actually didn't watch this next story, but I got some details here. Matt, did you even know this was happening? Nvidia had their conference. They did it online, though.
I didn't know this was happening at all. No.
I knew, and then I completely forgot about it. But they revealed the heart of its next-gen gaming hardware called Ampere. This comes to us from GameSpot. The latest architecture will move from a 12 nanometer down to a 7 nanometer. The shift should theoretically bring with it a jump in performance, as NVIDIA can now fit more transistors onto the processor. Ampere's A100 system board already has 54 billion transistors on it, making it the largest 7 nanometer production. So they didn't really announce new cards. They're just announcing this new architecture for the cards. But I imagine that this jump should be pretty great for PC games.
For sure, it's it's a good advancement. Anytime you can get the transistors to be closer together, that's like a huge jump, because it's just like when we were maxing out like a single core performance, and they're like, how are we going to get more performance? And then we invented, multi-core CPUs and all the rest of it. So it's just getting it physically better is always like the better option, if that makes sense, because you can make certain improvements in software, but hardware is always faster. So
can we get down to 1 nanometer? Is that possible?
I don't know if I think a nanometer might be the width of an atom.
Right. So I guess maybe two
you would need traces, I would assume, to these transistors. I'm not an engineer in this area, so I'm not 100%, but I would assume you would need traces, in other words, cables or wires, to reach these transistors. So unless you can make half nanometer transistors, but then you might have arcing.
I guess what I'm getting at is is there a limit to how good these things can actually get?
Well, that's exactly what I was trying to kind of touching on. Is there's going to be a limit? There's a limit to everything, physically, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why we have multi-cores. I mean, there's other reasons for that as well, but there's the reason why we just keep adding more cores and more cores and more cores to our CPUs, because if you can make it physically better, there's a limitation to being in a certain thing. For example, if they stayed at, I think you said it was 10 nanometer or whatever it was. If they stayed at 10 nanometer, it can only get so good there. And they're going to be shaving a little bit more performance every year out of it, with the different innovations. But if they can get it down, now it's whoa, now we got more transistors. Now we got even more to work with. So it's just like building another lane on the highway, pretty much.
It's funny how big Nvidia is in PC gaming, but the consoles have, to my knowledge, have been AMD for a while.
Yeah, I think even the Wii I think it had an ATI sticker on it.
Yeah, the Wii still has a sticker. It's actually engraved on the actual case.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but it's probably a cost thing. AMD's probably cheaper for the Xbox and PlayStation to put in there than Nvidia.
Well, I wondered too, is expense, sure, but I'm wondering if there's another aspect where AMD seems to, and this just might be to the fact that they got to the contracts first, but they seem to be willing or more willing to build custom GPUs, whereas Nvidia is sort of at the top right now of the PC market. And so they already have a big slice of that, especially something like gaming laptops or pre-builts and stuff like that. Like they own a fairly large portion of that market, if not most of it. And sure, AMD is coming up and ATI is coming up in that area, but being the underdog, maybe AMD was like, yeah, we'll work with you and make something custom, whereas Nvidia maybe bends less because they don't need that extra business, and then that's a lot less engineering cost on their behalf, right?
I really wish AMD would catch up on the PC side.
I've heard really good things about their latest. I can't remember what the latest is now. It was it was like slightly pre-COVID, I think, or maybe early COVID, which seems like a century ago. So I can't remember what it was, but I remember people were praising it. So
was that the one after Vega, like the Radeon 7, was it?
Something like that. Yeah. To be clear, I really only research these parts when I need them, and then once I like buy the thing I need, then I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna like I'll keep my ear to the ground a little bit, but I'm not gonna memorize all the things because I'm not gonna buy that one.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's move on here. Batman Arkham Origins developer is not ready to show its game, again from GameSpot. The studio has tweeted for the first time in 4 months to share a job posting seeking an animator. Shortly after that, it tweeted again with a statement that seemed to tease that it will be a while until we hear any more news about the next project. They said, "Thank you very much for the enthusiasm for our next project. At this time, our channel will showcase the studio." So this is what was it? WB Montreal. They're the guys who did Origins. And it's been a while since Origins, I think 4 or 5 years. And we still don't know what's happening at Rocksteady. So how long are they going to go in between games here?
The scary thing is it's such a long duration that if it has any trouble or if it flops, that's some studio destroying time.
Well, I wonder what the max length is you can go, because Rockstar takes quite a long time in their games.
But also GTA has been making money consistently since.
Yeah, and they've built up credibility too with was it Montreal, WB Montreal?
Yeah.
Yeah, their last thing was Arkham Origins Blackgate. So, or was that was that another spin-off?
That might have been a different studio.
That might have been different. Arkham Origins.
But even Origins wasn't that well received. I think it was just moderately received.
Yeah.
It would have been good if it was the first in the series, like its name.
Yeah, if they like, I always say it's not a terrible game. It's just a meh.
Yeah.
And if that was the first one, it would have been amazing. And then.
But I think they could do good if they're building off of it. They kind of had to operate in Rocksteady's shadow, coming off of 2 great Arkham games. But I'm curious do games sell better and are they better quality if the studios take longer to make them? Like, is there a time limit you could be developing a game that makes it so much better that it sells an additional amount of copies, making up some of that money that was put into the production?
Definitely depends on the studio for sure. Like, look at Duke Nukem Forever.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That was like 13 years.
Also, that one eco game, what's it called? With the
Eco.
dog. Guardian,
Last
Guardian.
Look how non-relevant it is. Like none of us can recall the name.
Everyone was like talking about that game for years, and it came out, and just no one really cared for it.
I don't know about you guys, but that game is a pretty good example because they showed off that demo, and people were screaming during the Sony thing.
Yeah.
And even if I don't understand that particular game franchise that people love, I can kind of get into it. Even like the Final Fantasy thing, I'm like, yeah, okay, like that looks pretty cool. I just don't. It's not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that was one of those projects where I was like, why does everyone care? Like, this is just like a rough graphic game and a kid slowly running through yelling for a dog with wings to follow him and help him cross like holes in a bridge.
I think it's just because that series has had so few entries that people are just so hungry for another entry into it. And I just found it interesting that Ryan even referred to it as Eco, which is the proper pronunciation, and B, that you referred to Eco instead of Shadow of the Colossus, which is what people more so associate.
That was just the first thing that jumped to my mind, yeah.
But But yeah, that game had a lot of hype. And that's it. that's what I had. Had a lot of hype.
Jeez.
It's amazing though that they showed it off, and then something must have bad happened at the studio. I'm not sure what happened.
It got put on hold, right? It was put on hiatus or something. Roughly remembering something that someone said at Sony.
I just find it so weird that when it had such a great response at E3, that kind of game could be put on hold. It's like, you know, it felt like it was going to just make money.
I feel
Why
like
didn't they develop it?
I feel like projects, because they're big, right? Especially games. I'm kind of like, I'm not a game developer, but I make websites and other web things, and there's some big projects that there's been times where I literally sit back and just watch it fall apart. And you can just see the whole project fall apart, even though the excitement might still be there from whoever wants it, whatever project it is. You can literally watch the excitement leave, the emails slow down, people stop responding, people go on like other projects. It just completely falls apart. I don't know if that's what happened to this game, but any project is susceptible to stuff like that.
Plus, these are big projects. Video games, they're massive, right? So
if
a lot of opportunities for it to collapse like that.
If you like flop the beginning, or if the developers start feeling overworked, or if the developers start leaving because they're overworked, or whatever happened, I don't know if we'll ever know what happened, or if we do know what happened. But if any piece of that machine breaks, there's a good chance of the whole thing just coming down.
All right, let's move on here. Phil Spencer is saying that he's speaking on the impact of COVID-19. He says, we're going to be fine. This comes to us from GameSpot. Speaking to Business Insider, Spencer said he expects the Xbox Series X to launch on schedule this year, and most titles in the short term won't be significantly affected. On a longer timeline, however, Spencer said that there might be some impact. Through the summer, early fall, I feel pretty good about those games, Spencer said. Games that we're targeting a year from now or beyond, there will be some impact, but they'll be able to react. So one of the issues that they're running into is conducting motion capture sessions, because you basically can't do that when you have to be physically distancing. So that tends to be a big problem for any game that's not at that stage or past that stage yet.
I wonder if that'll affect even something like Starfield, where people are really eagerly anticipating. I don't know. That's why. Well, no, actually, no. They do for sure, because that one guy in the Bethesda documentary or whatever it was a video with the staff, and he said he would grab his assistant or whatever, another colleague, and they would go down there and they would act out the piece they needed.
Wasn't what's the reporter's name in Fallout 4?
Piper.
Wasn't she one of the first mocapped characters in Bethesda?
I know that she was one of the only ones in 4 that was mocapped.
Or she had
in Fallout 4, I mean.
She had unique gestures and stuff, right? Something like that.
Her first conversation is really obviously well animated.
Yeah.
When you see her, and it's really obvious that it's not.
It looks really good.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It looks so good that it stands out.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're hearing from both Sony and Microsoft that the consoles themselves are going to be fine. So they're going to be launching on time, it seems.
Isn't Sony planning a reduced?
That's what we hear. Yeah,
load?
That they're. Yeah. One of the problems also that Microsoft's running into is that they can't send over some of their team over to China to check in on the progress being made during the manufacturing process, which I guess they normally send people over there to make sure everything's running smoothly and whatnot.
Well, they probably anticipate lower sales anyway, because people know that it's backwards compatible. So there's going to be a good chunk of their purchasing base that's going to be like, well, why would I buy the new console when I can still play the same games on the one I've already got?
Yeah, I guess that depends on how long next-gen games are going to be, both next-gen and current-gen.
I will say that if the launch lineups, I think Tim's onto something there, because if the launch lineups are lackluster for both of these consoles, if I'm not going to be buying a PS5 game or buying an Xbox Series X game that I really, really want right away, I have the money aside already, but I think I might just wait and see, and then wait for a console seller.
Well, it's interesting too, because The Last of Us from what they've shown, looks fantastic, and they say it's running on a PS4 Pro. Is it going to be worth it to see it on a PS5?
Well, they also said that the next-gen games, at least the ones in the launch window, are going to be pretty much the same as well, they're going to be pretty much the same graphics as this, right? Like, it's not going to be taking full advantage of the new hardware. And so that lends even more to Tim's point, where if a bunch of these games are going to be naturally upgraded with that free project that we heard about with Xbox last week, or just, the game just does it for you, however it does it.
Oh, what do they call that? Smart delivery?
Smart delivery or something, yeah where the Xbox games upgrade themselves. But imagine if you're playing Cyberpunk and you wait for a game on Series X to sell you on it, you're still playing Cyberpunk, so you're just like, whatever, I'll keep my Xbox One. But when that console seller comes out, you buy it, and then you do your smart upgrade or smart delivery.
Where are you guys on Cyberpunk? How do you guys feel about that?
I'm excited for it, but I'm going to be playing it on PC. So, as for the next gen consoles, there's a good chance I might not even end up getting one. So,
yeah, if you're planning on going full PC, I mean,
yeah, it's also I won't have the money to buy one for a long time. But what I'm more curious about is how, like, with crossplay coming up more and more and people wanting it, I'm more curious to know how Xbox and PlayStation plan on just somehow integrating just like a mutual party system within the console. Like, are they going to have an ability where you can search your Xbox friends or PlayStation friends on either one, or are they just going to go commonplace and go, hey, there's Discord support, so you load up the Discord app and you just chat in there, or Skype or Zoom or whatever? And
having a third-party option would be nice.
That would be fantastic.
I remember when our group from 360 was breaking into pieces for the PS4 and Xbox One and a computer a little bit. I think there was talk of a Skype app coming to PS4, and there was already talk and confirmation that there was one on Xbox One, and then obviously there's one on PC. So I remember that was going to be our sort of chat service. So I can definitely see them doing the Discord route. And one thing that indicates that, actually, is that Microsoft isn't, or specifically the Xbox division, isn't ashamed of turning away something that they failed at, the Kinect, who, turns a console on and stuff like that. That thing's kind of failed, but if you want some of those voice commands back and you want to be able to turn your Xbox on, that actually plugs into the Amazon Echo, the Alexa service, or the Google Assistant. It'll plug into either one of those with your account, and you can control your Xbox through there. So they're not ashamed to plug into a third party or closely integrate with a third party.
I wonder if Microsoft has gotten that sort of mentality from mobile phones, where they don't have a platform really anymore since they shut down their phone division, and now they're kind of forced to just make their services available to both iOS and Android. And so I wonder if they're a little more loose with now than with having, lockdown must be in this platform.
Yeah, I use most of the Microsoft stuff on my phone. The Microsoft Launcher, I use Edge, I have Outlook, and a bunch of other things. And it really is more or less seamless. Mm-hmm. I don't really notice the difference between, Edge is now running Chromium, but I don't really notice the difference between Google Chrome and Edge all that much. And then if you have a Samsung phone, they're partnered with Microsoft to some degree, where like Link This PC and other things work together as well. And there used to be there is or was, I don't really know what the status is, of Samsung Cloud for backing up photos and such, but you had the option, and I did opt in for it, to just use with the default gallery app, which is like shows all your pictures and your videos. You could just sync it with OneDrive automatically, and since I use OneDrive for everything, I just synced in. So there's definitely a close relationship between Microsoft and Android, and even further with Samsung, which is a manufacturer of one Android, or a collection of Android devices. So
right. I just wonder if Microsoft understands that we can't be locked onto one system anymore.
I think they absolutely realize that. I think they're realizing that quicker than
Sony
than Sony is. Yeah, I think if there's one of them that will absolutely let you use a third party third-party application, it's going to be them.
Although it is surprising that Sony does have Horizon Zero Dawn coming to PC at some point. So that's a small step forward.
Surprising?
Is it not?
It was always it was kind of expected, like that there was going to be some sort of Sony, like, hey, we need to migrate in order to survive. Like
I would imagine though that they're going to have that same time delay for their games. I don't think it's going to be launch day. You'll have Last of Us Part 3 on your PlayStation 6 and your
and
PC.
I absolutely agree with that now. In 5-10 years, who knows? But yeah, I can see The Last of Us eventually coming to PC.
That'd be nuts.
Even if like Sony does their own dedicated launcher and store, like everyone else,
right?
Which I think they should do. Kind of like brand themselves as a service and not a platform, which Microsoft is doing a fantastic job of kind of establishing now. I can see that happening.
They did just launch that logo for their Sony Game Studios or whatever it's called.
Yeah, and I promise you that is going to be the opening in Horizon Zero Dawn. When you go and launch up that game on PC, whether it's through Steam or Epic Games or wherever the hell they plan on putting that, I promise you that it's going to be there.
I kind of got the impression that was, and this is just totally speculation on my behalf, but I kind of got the impression that game, that PlayStation, what was it again? PlayStation Studios, or what's the full title?
I think it's PlayStation Studios.
I kind of got the impression that was more to foyer or conjoin the gaming with movies. Because there seems to be more and more gaming movies and TV shows and stuff coming out, like with Witcher and that type of thing. Because I still don't. I'm with Ryan in saying that the PlayStation exclusive games are probably not going to be day one on PC. But I also still don't believe that their saving grace is PC. There's a lot of people out there that don't want to buy a $2,600 computer just to play games. There's people that will rather pay the $400 for a PS4 in this day and age, or they would go to a PS5 for ballpark it at $750. They would rather go there than even like $750 for a desktop is, you're talking almost office level at that point. And yes, there's cheaper options out there, but it certainly isn't high end gaming. You're not going to get the same performance out of a PlayStation 5 versus a $750 PC. That just doesn't exist.
Yeah. Because I'm looking at I just brought up the system requirements for Cyberpunk 2077.
Right.
Although this site's doing something called predicted and redirected requirements.
Have they officially announced?
I thought they did. Here we go. These are minimum. And then, so minimum is Windows 7 64. Its processor is i5 3.3 or an AMD FX E320. And the graphics needs to be Radeon R9 380 or Nvidia GTX 960. 2 gigs of VRAM, 8 gigs of system RAM, 20 gigs of space, and then the DirectX 11. Okay. Then if you go over to the recommended, mine, I am just meeting actually, no. I'm actually above the recommended. Windows 10 64, processor still the i5 at 46. I think I have an i7 at 47, so like I'm still good there. The graphics is Radeon RX Vega 64 or a GTX 1070, and I have a 1070 Ti.
You're basically right at the edge there, though.
No, because the they're looking for 6 gigs and mine is an 8.
Yeah,
but those other RAM is like I shouldn't say this, but RAM is a dime a dozen and is easily replaceable.
Yeah. No. So yeah, VRAM is 6. The system
VRAM.
The system RAM they're asking for 16, and I have 16. So like but that's also recommended, and I have absolutely played games well below the recommended with no issue whatsoever. Like I was far below the recommended when we did Gears 4 on PC, Ryan. Because that was before I did like a system upgrade, and I was running an older system, and I was way below the recommended, and it ran it perfectly fine.
Because that was probably better than what's even in the Xbox One.
Yeah. So I have faith. I have faith that this will be okay. But what this tells me, though, is that there is obviously a ticking clock on my system, and probably within 3 years, I will probably have maybe 3 to 4. I would have to probably rebuild because I imagine over time, as new games come out, I will have to go from like ultra to high to medium to low, and then eventually be like, okay, this doesn't work anymore.
Your biggest problem actually is that you're not playing a lot of PC gamers do, and that is a lot of indie titles, a lot of older titles, a lot of esports titles, which are built to run on anything. You're doing a lot of AAA, and AAA is a whole other ball game. This computer that I'm using right now is a rather old tower that's had some upgrades and some fixes throughout the years. It's about 10 years ish old. It matches pretty much exactly those minimum specs, and I timed this PC to be around 10-ish years, so it's like right on time kind of thing. But I also at the time spent $2,600.
Yeah, I bought this maybe at least 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. I'm gonna say 3, and I hope to get at least another 3 to 4 out of it. So 7, and I would have to maybe at the very least start maybe replacing stuff. I don't think I could squeeze any more RAM in here, and it is a business case, so it is jam packed.
That's the hilarious part.
Like
the business case.
Oh my god, it is. You open it up, and there's just stuff just piled in everywhere.
So wait, was that a gaming computer though that you bought?
I bought it was somebody's custom built thing. They took a business case and they put a gaming in it because they wanted to hide it. They didn't want like a flashy case.
Mm-hmm.
So then I bought it, and then
they call them sleepers.
Yeah, and then then over time, like I had Matt replace the fan for me. I replaced the power supply. I replaced the video card. I put a little module piece on top, which now houses 4 additional hard drives.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's my Plexer.
You don't have a business motherboard though, right?
No.
Okay, because that would have been awful.
No. It is a gaming PC. It's just stuffed into a business case.
Okay,
which is funny.
Is your door still hanging off?
No. I put it all together. It looks nice and clean now.
And somebody mangled your original cooler. I remember you brought it over because your PC was overheating and kept shutting down. And I got it to bolt in there essentially because it's one of the Intel coolers, so they're like the push screws. So I got it to bolt in there, but getting it out took us like at least an hour to get that one side off.
Yeah, and then I guess in the move when I moved locations, something happened with the power button on the external case, so it wasn't working. I couldn't actually power it on. So now I had to rip off the power button that would be on the case, and now that's just a cover. Like I literally take it off, and then I literally reach in to turn it on, and then I put it back. So it's like,
what the hell?
The power button's more for show because it just like stopped because it's a little squishy membrane that and it stopped working. So I had to just rip the whole thing off, which is funny.
I'm kind of itching to build a new computer.
Oh, then I got a project for you, Ryan. Because my brother wants a gaming PC now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I said because I asked Matt the other day in the chat. I don't know if you were in it. I go, what gaming laptop would you do? And I think Matt, you said a Lenovo Legion.
Yeah.
And I said
they're on sale pretty frequently.
Yeah, and I sent that to my brother because, I hate when somebody says like, "Oh, I need you to shop a laptop for me." Like I fucking hate that. It's like I don't like that's so much. So I sent him the Lenovo Legion, the 2060, and I said, "Here, that's your option. Do that." But he goes, "Oh, I might want a rig now," and I go, "Well, then I'm just gonna fucking outsource that to Matt and Ryan. Like that's going to be a project for you to do with them."
Is he? He's kind of on and off with gaming though, right?
He jumped back on recently because of now he works from home, so he has more time. He now has super fast internet. He got into Google Stadia. That's his main.
Well, he doesn't need a PC then.
But he does want one because he's seeing like the stuff on Steam
Yeah.
versus the stuff on Stadia.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And he wants to do that.
You should send him that NZXT case, that one that looks like the Xbox One. That's what I want to build in next.
There's also actually a Legion desktop as well. It's a mini desktop.
I'm just gonna not tell him anymore.
Cut him off. That's it.
I gave him the laptop, and that's it. And then if he wants to do a rig, he can coordinate with you guys because
it is a nice laptop though. Matt's is a real nice laptop.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of PC games and next gen consoles, Epic Games showed off a pretty incredible demo on Summer Games Festival. So you all watched it?
Yes, sir.
What was your initial thoughts?
Some nice ass rocks.
A lot of triangles.
Yeah.
I got a frostbite vibes from it. I remember when we first played the very first Battlefront, or the rebooted Battlefront, EA's Battlefront.
Mm-hmm.
That game gave me like the same vibes where I was like, damn, like this game is detailed.
That is a really nice looking game, and in some ways, I almost feel like it looks better than 2.
It looks better than 2, in my opinion.
Although maybe if we went back, would be surprised at how bad it looks.
Yeah, it's either the shock to the fact that Battlefront was such an upgrade from what we had seen before, or it's that they wanted better performance out of 2 and lessened it a little bit, and it's noticeable.
I still believe that the first one looks better than the second. If we put them side by side right now, the first one's still good. I still remember looking at that first one for the first time at Fan Expo in Toronto. I was just blown away about how fucking good that thing looked.
So this demo was I was expecting it to open up into like a more jungly type area, because that's normally what they show when they're trying to show off graphics, some sort of beautiful landscape or something like that. But this was kind of all in desert. A lot of people got like Tomb Raider or Uncharted vibes from it.
Mm-hmm.
The rocks looked pretty incredible, and the lighting looked amazing. There's a lot of tech went into that. One of the key things they talked about was how the objects in this demo are made up of triangles. And they were saying like it had on par with Hollywood movies CG triangle counts and stuff. So we're getting to a level where we're getting pretty close to realism.
I actually have a question for Tim about that, actually. So we're getting to the point where it's getting to be like cinematic quality, like you're saying. And I've heard, and this is just in comments and stuff like this, that it's actually hard, and it's hard too, and it makes it look worse to stream this type of stuff. Because if you have any lack of bitrate, or if you're stuck at 720, if you, the gamer, are playing at this cinematic quality, it's very unforgiving. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if you've noticed that, Tim, with your stream, whether higher quality games look particularly worse during an internet blip or something.
I mean, it unfortunately for me, it's kind of hard to see in real time, like, what my stream looks like to the viewer from, like, in that scenario. I usually find, like, it depends on the game. So the issue that I have kind of semi-frequently with Streamlabs, just these days, because I'm playing Yakuza quite frequently, Streamlabs keeps telling me that I'm having network errors and that my stream is lagging frames because of the network, which is not the case. And I've gone on Streamlabs official like blogs and forums and stuff and followed their steps to prevent that from happening. Doesn't matter. Doesn't change anything. It's just in certain areas in Yakuza, it's like it seems to think that the computer is overloaded, like the CPU is trying. It's too much and it can't handle it. And I check my CPU and it's at like 21%. So it's like that's clearly not the case. It's just it's just something to do with Yakuza. It's just fucked. So with that, I can sort of see like issues, but as far as games that have like cinematic quality, I haven't really played many myself, so I'm not sure what effect that would sort of have on stream per se. Unless I'm not understanding you properly.
What are you supposed to set the bitrate to when streaming?
Whatever your network can allow, basically. So
Go
most
as
people
high as you
say,
can?
yeah, basically, most people recommend like 25 to 3500.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But
I would assume that was a little too small.
yeah, that's just like a safe
Oh, okay.
number. I usually stream at 6000.
Yeah, I was gonna say because YouTube standards for HD at 1080 are between 6 and 8. Like that's what it should be going out at. So I figured streaming would be the same.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
And it
Do
doesn't
you-
necessarily it's not
Yeah.
necessarily on Twitch. That's anything, right? Mixer, YouTube.
Do you when you're pumping it out to the Twitch, do you then pump it out to a separate recorder separately?
Nope.
Because just out to Twitch.
Yep.
Okay, because like
I don't do
I
local
know,
recording.
yeah, because I know some people and like he'll do a comparison, out in a separate video afterwards where he shows what we see as the streamer, as the viewer watching his stream versus what is actually getting recorded onto his computer, and like the quality difference is just like it's
Oh yeah, it's going to be
so much,
significantly different
cause,
for sure.
'cause Twitch or Mixer will just demolish it on the way in.
There's a little bit of compression, yeah, for sure.
So the big thing about this demo was it was being played in real time on a PS5 dev kit.
Mhm.
And they said it was fully playable, so it's not just like they made a video and
Scripted.
played it on the PS5. This was something that I guess that in normal times they would have allowed the press to kind of walk around and take a look at and stuff. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And part of how they're able to get that much detail running so flawlessly is apparently down to Sony's SSD that they developed for the PS5. And so this comes to us from the CEO of Epic Games, Tim Sweeney, who said that Sony's storage system is absolutely world class. Not only the best in class on console, but also the best in class on any platform, better than high-end PCs. This is going to enable the types of immersion we've only dreamed of in the past. The world of loading screens is over. The days of pop-in and geometry popping up as you're going through these game environments are ended. The resulting effect is the ability to build games that are fully immersive from start to finish over hundreds of hours of gameplay.
Well, you and I were talking about this, Ryan. So with praise like this, I mean, Adriano actually prime time for this. He just listed out the requirements for Cyberpunk, and all it said about the hard drive was the amount of space. Mm-hmm. Are we going to see, because consoles have these ridiculously fast SSDs, are we going to see games now say this game is only playable on an SSD of X speed? On PC, I mean.
I wonder if they're probably eventually. I wonder though if they're going to say, hey, there is a minimum and a recommended, and they're saying if you don't want loading screens, you have to have an SSD with this speed. If you have a traditional mechanical, you're going to have some loading screens, or you're going to have some pop-ins. Like maybe they'll benchmark it like that. There's going to be another column in the minimum recommended area for that.
This is kind of the benefit of having a console, though, where the developers know what they're making the game for.
100%.
If you're making a PC game, it's like, do they have a normal SSD? Do they have an NVMe SSD? Do they have a mechanical drive? The variables are too high that they can't focus performance in one area. So
you
I
can't
wonder,
possibly optimize for a million different possibilities.
Yeah, it'd be nuts. And so I wonder if during this transition, if console games might look better for the next year or two than PC games.
Possibly. Yeah, I'm curious to know how my system's going to handle like a game that wants an SSD. Like I have hybrid drives in my computer, so they're not quite up to snuff, but it does kind of make me like every time I hear them talk about the future consoles, it does make me somewhat concerned that my PC will be under par. Mm-hmm. But then, like looking at the system requirements for Cyberpunk or the latest Tomb Raider or whatever, it's like no, like I need this. So maybe I'll just hit a little hiccup here and there, but who knows?
Oh, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Did someone inhale, ready to say something, or?
Oh, I was just as a really quick comment. I was just gonna say I wish I could find the video I was looking for, but I can't find it. It was like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I saw this video on Reddit, and there was this really small, they weren't a dev company, they were like a software development company that came up with a new technology to render 3D graphics, and it was all based on like, can't remember what they called it. It was like particles or something. Maybe that's not the right word.
No, I remember you sent that to me.
Yeah, and they and they weren't game devs and they weren't graphic designers, but they had like a very rough like mock-up showing a bunch of models in a room that were all comprised of these little like points, and basically in the same way that like, you know, things in reality are on an atomic level, they're all just points all assembled together, and then when you zoom way out, you've got, you know, people, and you've got computer desks, and you've got what looks like a solid, right? Which is the same sort of idea that they had for their technology, and they had a room full of, I think they made like the room with all the terracotta soldiers in it, and they were saying it basically had like infinite rendering potential. They were like, you could render entire worlds like this, and it would have the same impact on a processor as a single unit would have. Like the difference was so minuscule between rendering something singular and something massive and something with so many different individual things. Like it just didn't matter, because it could just handle it all based on that certain technology. And I can't remember exactly how it worked, but it was all I could think of when I was watching that tech demo. I was like, they're talking about the different triangles and stuff. I'm like, this is exactly the same thing, and they were way ahead of it like 3 years ago.
I remember hearing about that back when I was in college, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. They did bring up the idea that those triangles were like points, that they were getting close to replicating something like that, like an atomic build of a level instead of polygons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, what I'm amazed by this is that I think a lot of people underestimated how much a SSD could actually help the performance graphics-wise. We all thought the graphics card was the main power behind visuals. But they're saying that because this SSD is so fast and so closely integrated into the system with the processors, that it allows it to pull so much bandwidth through, making these things possible. And even in that demo, they kind of had like a terracotta-type army.
Yeah, they did.
Or statues in that one room. So, which
is, again, I was just like, it's like they watched that video and they tried to recreate it.
Yeah. Now, here's something interesting. So, Sweeney also told The Verge that the built-in SSD, combined with the way the PS5 architecture is built to rely on it, makes this high-end performance more reliable than PCs, which aren't built around SSDs as a given. He also said that the Xbox Series X may be capable of the same with its own built-in SSD, but Epic has worked more closely with Sony. At the same time, the company is cautious not to play favorites. So I wonder if Sony has a slightly faster SSD, could that make up in the slight lack of performance graphics-wise?
That's the ultimate question too, right? Because we don't know. I think what would be the ultimate tell, and they could possibly replicate this, is they could potentially put this demo on a mechanical drive. Don't change anything else and play it and see what it does. And if it like is the reason why the PS4 and everything, like the Xbox One and regular PCs, there is the reason why they needed all those optimizations and couldn't use the cinematic quality textures and all the rest of those other things that they said. Is it because there's a bottleneck even at the SSD speed? Even like just a regular 2.5-inch SSD that, you know, isn't an M2. It isn't an M2 or, you know, it isn't one of these new ones in these consoles. Mm-hmm. So, you know, is that the thing that's killing it, and it's causing the CPU to overwork or something like that? I think the ultimate test would be these, like, just using that hard drive. But if you think about it, the Xbox One or Xbox Series X, and God, that's confusing. The Xbox Series X and the PS5 both do not allow external hard drives like the PS4 and the Xbox One did, meaning that. Well, I mean, you could argue that they're trying to make money, although Xbox has like the memory cards and the PS5 allows you to use a really fast SSD.
They do offer external hard drive support, but you won't be able to play the games that take advantage of the SSD on those hard drives.
You're talking about Xbox or PlayStation?
Both.
Oh.
Well, on an Xbox Series X, you have to buy essentially memory cards. They're like mini SSDs essentially that plug in like memory cards, and they're watching the Austin Evans videos. They're more or less directly channeled right to the CPU, so that they're ultra fast and they can
get the same performance as the internal.
Right. Yeah. So like you're meeting or almost meeting that performance, whereas the PS4 or the PS5 allows you to use a standard SSD, but it has to be of a certain speed.
They have to approve it.
Yeah, it has to be like, please use like a quote unquote official one or one at this speed.
I'm kind of hoping that Sony offers their own, because that would really help out, just from keeping your mind straight on what you need to buy.
I'm sure Seagate because Seagate already does it. Makes
isn't Seagate making the Xbox one?
Yeah, but I don't think that they're going to be in a war for that. I think that they'll even if Seagate just makes an SSD and then just says this one is PS4 approved or PS5 approved just because it matches the speed. They probably don't need Sony's permission, I would assume. I don't know if that's true, but
I think the true test is going to be when we get our hands on these consoles and some of these games, eh?
I'm worried about PC.
I think it will catch up pretty quick. No,
I'm more worried. I'm more worried about now. We're talking. If you are a person that does a lot on your computer, and you want a lot of storage, yes, SSDs have come down in price quite a bit. But a 6 terabyte, for example, getting into the bigger sizes, a 6 terabyte mechanical drive is significantly cheaper than a 6 terabyte SSD. Of course, the 2 terabyte SSDs are comparable within reason to a 2 terabyte mechanical drive. So, it's not unfathomable that people today would have a 2 terabyte SSD in even a semi-budgeted gaming PC, right? They're not totally ridiculous. But like now if we're talking, you have to have real good GPU, really good CPU, a lot of RAM, a nice motherboard to complement all that, nice coolers, all the rest of it, and then it's like, oh, by the way, you need this special SSD that's $500. Now it's like, great. So now we gotta budget all this other crap. God knows how much power draw that thing has. So maybe some people who are on the bleeding edge of their power supply might have to upgrade that. Is this just going to push PCs out more?
I don't think so. I think the PC fans are a different breed. Like they like building their PCs and upgrading the parts and stuff. I don't think they're going to put that aside just for performance. You know what I mean?
I suppose these games, I think maybe Adriano mentioned it, but I suppose you're right. These games might just say runs best on an SSD, but it won't be a mandatory thing.
And it'll probably only be a couple of years before we start seeing motherboards that can take those Sony rated SSDs and people will be able to match those speeds and stuff. I think they'll catch up pretty quick. But you are right about the price. We'll have to see what the price of those super fast SSDs are going to be.
Like for me, if I had to have an SSD in there for mandatory games, I definitely wouldn't be putting in a 2 terabyte. I would only be putting in like a 250 and literally having the one game or the two games that need it on that drive. Anything that could run on a mechanical or my hybrid would just go back on that one. That's how I would probably do it.
I heard that mechanical drives are practically as cheap as they can get. Like you're basically just buying the base components and then whatever markup there is. And so mechanical drives can't really get cheaper.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a joke anyway, in terms of price, like which is good. Yeah. Like that's a really good thing for us, the consumer.
And like all new technologies, the SSDs will continue to come down in price, especially as popularity goes up.
Yeah,
and they start selling more. So,
what do you guys think this is going to do for VR?
I guess help it, right? I would think it would improve it.
Well, I'm almost wondering how they. I mean, this might be a dumb question, but I'm not an engineer on it. But how they managed it without this thing. This thing, if it's improving just a general demo that we would see in our TVs this much, is this the key to VR being? Is this the key? Is this going to make headsets be the whole computer? Like, you know what I mean?
Finish that sentence. Key to VR being what?
The VR being like just first thing off the top of my head is it's all in the headset.
Oh,
like is that SSD offloading enough? And it's not that big. Is it offloading enough that it's like let's just put all the PC in the headset?
Accessibility, probably. Like if you could take out the actual PC part of it, literally just walk around with a headset, yeah. But I don't
I mean, that would be pretty incredible if VR was only the headset and nothing else. That's the most like accessible way to get into it, you know.
Yeah.
Because I saw Linus now he has like these things he strapped onto his feet.
Oh my god!
Did you see that video, Matt?
Here we go. No,
like,
I didn't see that
like
video.
You're tracking like everything now, and it's ridiculous. I just wanted to throw something on my head and then start playing right away. I don't want to have a whole setup process.
Back in the olden times when we used to use, horse-drawn carriages. No, I'm kidding. The Xbox 360, back in the day, Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. I remember the games used to come with manuals and brochures and stuff, and there was a brochure in there in my copy of the game that had a guy in like a VR headset or a VR or at least an AR maybe setup where it looked like there was a vest on him and like these feet things, and his arms were covered in these things, and I don't know whether he was playing the game on a TV and was just getting like feedback or what it was, or if it was even real or just concept, but I remember seeing that and being like, what the hell is this guy wearing? Like, it's getting there though.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a pretty exciting time when technology is advancing this fast. It's crazy.
Pretty sure I just saw it might have been a Kickstarter thing. I don't know if it's real or not. I'd have to look it up, but there was a vest that I saw an ad for that, and the advertisement was like, welcome to the next generation of audio. And it was like, you wear this vest and you could like feel the feedback from the audio.
That's
I don't think it was quite the same as like a as one of those, like the, what are they called? Like the Jawbone headsets where you put them on your you wear them like over your ears on the side of your head, and then the sound vibrates through your bone. That's how you hear it.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I've seen. Techmoan did a video on that. Ryan actually.
That's
pretty good.
That sounds nasty.
That's all right.
Well, they got these different ways of trying to get audio. They've got those screens that vibrate too. Have you seen those ones?
I haven't seen that. No.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, someone's gonna make a mistake and just have like a cat on there or something.
They're shown off at CES where like they don't have speakers in these TVs anymore. The screen itself vibrates to produce the sound. Yeah,
it's crazy.
There comes a point when it's like, I mean, I can't think of. I mean, nobody can think of every application for something like that. I'm sure there's a section of technology that desperately needs that.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of a television, it's like, even though the TV is getting thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner, I'm not going to leave the clearance around my TV of like a foot. You could make the TV a little bigger and put a speaker in there. I'm not jamming the TV in a slot that I can't see it in. You know what I mean? There's enough clearance there.
Hey man, I'll take a thinner TV as long as the quality of the speakers doesn't go down. Why not try to achieve that thinness?
Thinner TV is easier to move.
That's true.
Easier to break.
That's also true.
How often do you break your TV?
It's just the thought of having speakers in the screen, and like that's more points of failure, more potential for failure.
Like one day your screen just like shatters.
Shatters because you decided to put on like a, I don't know, what's a high pitched singer, Whitney Houston, and she just like her high note just shatters your screen.
That'd be fantastic. All right, our final story for the week. Ubisoft has announced a digital showcase for this summer, taking place on my birthday, July 12th, at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. The teaser on Twitter didn't show any of the games that will be shown, but it promises exclusive game news, reveals, and more. So we already got the Assassin's Creed, what's it called? Valhalla.
Heck yeah.
So other than that, what else they got going? I guess we'll see another Just Dance.
Probably a Far Cry.
They'll probably show some Watch Dogs Legion.
Watch Dogs Legions we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
Skull and Bones.
Oh yeah.
Is that still happening?
I don't know. I hope it is.
What was the game that Aaron was working on? Starbound? Starlink. So which one's Starbound?
That's another game.
Starbound's an indie title by Chucklefish. And someone else, I think.
It's the one that's like Terraria in space.
Yeah,
which one is the Bethesda one?
Starfield?
That's Starfield, yeah.
All right, yeah. Maybe another Starlink?
I think definitely another Far Cry. It's been a while.
It's been the appropriate amount of time. They seem to release those things like clockwork.
All right,
I'm all
you
for.
guys have to announce a new Far Cry game. Where do you set it? What's the setting?
Canada.
Ooh, okay.
Somewhere with tundra.
Tundra, eh?
I don't know.
So where have they been? They've been into the Nepal area, right?
Yeah, they've been to Nepal. They've been to Montana.
I kind of liked being in the U.S. That was kind of
That was awesome.
cool departure.
Tell you what. First half of the year 2020, New York City. COVID.
That's
Oh
the
my
division.
I was gonna say, is this the division?
I don't know where else you could put it. Maybe somewhere in Asia. That'd be kind of cool.
You know what's a little worrying? Actually, I just thought of. So number one, they introduced RPG elements, which were okay, like pretty passive in New Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
But New Dawn and 5 introduced something interesting. So 5 was like sort of, in terms of setting, was a standard, you're in Montana, whatever. And then, spoiler alert for 5 for anybody, but it goes into a nuclear apocalypse in New Dawn, and the DLC of 5 is Mars, Vietnam, and then something else, I can't remember. And so I wonder if they're going to get wacky and try to go to Mars or something for a full game.
That would be pretty nuts.
I don't think they would make that as Far Cry 6, though. That would probably be a separate...
oh, you're right, like a subtitled one.
Yeah, it would be like on the same level of Primal. Like they're probably not going to put a main in.
I got it. Somewhere in Russia.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
I agree with you in the snow, though, because I remember... I don't know if it was 3 or if it was 4, but 3 or 4 had a snow scene. And it was like just a brief part, and people, myself included, loved it. It looked awesome, and it was awesome to just play too.
Well, didn't 4 have, like, since you were in like Nepal type area, and weren't you in the mountains in the snow there, or no?
I think that's exactly where one of the scenes take place, but it is like just a limited. I'm remembering this game just solely from memory, but I believe it's from like it's just one section, it's one level. It's not like you can go back there anytime.
Or they should remaster the best game in the series, Far Cry 2.
I would do that.
All right,
because
that concludes the podcast. Everybody out of here. off my Zoom server.
That's the next one I have to play, but I don't feel like starting it.
It's so good. I love it.
The malaria, I will never forgive them for the malaria.
Yes, there are bad parts of the game.
No,
the game overall.
I'm going to describe to you, Ryan, again.
You've done it before.
Missions in that game take 1 hour.
You've done it before.
Hell yeah, I have, and I'm going to describe it again because it is dumb. It's brief, but it is dumb. In that game, you have malaria at random, and a malaria attack at random, and
you would though
no in real life. Now, hang on a minute here. Missions in that game are not checkpointed, and they take an hour-ish. I took about an hour to do this, and then there's like at the end of each mission, there's like a chance of some like event thing happening. So the event happens, and I go do like the bonus section of the mission. I'm driving my Jeep full speed, okay, because I'm rushing to the scene because I'm supposed to be. All of a sudden, I'm on the edge of a cliff. I have a malaria attack. I can't steer anymore. I go right off the cliff, smash into the thing, detonate, gotta restart. Good. Full hour of progress erase. Why? Random malaria attack. Thanks,
that you
game.
can counteract by having the items.
No, you can have the pill, right? But the thing is I had the pill bottle, but you have the attack, and then it says press left bump. So you've pressed left bump, but I'm already off. I'm already careening off the friggin' off the edge of the cliff.
Pretty sure you could take the drugs preemptively though, and it prevented attacks.
Well, I've never heard of that.
Okay, well, looks like Matt was playing the game wrong.
Well, hang on a minute here. You also said you had malaria attack, so you were also playing it wrong. I was
playing it wrong, but I also didn't care. It didn't bother me that much.
If Tim's right, you know what? I'll say this. If Tim's right, I'll replay that game.
Holy cow, really?
Yeah. I'll say it on the air, and I'll do it.
Oh,
okay.
On PC?
How are you going to prove this? You're just going to...
We'll do it on stream.
If somebody... Yeah, I'll stream it fine, or like a piece of it, because it's a pretty long game, but...
The whole thing, both maps.
When I do play that game, I have to decide, because I have it on PC on Steam, but I also have it on 360.
It does not have controller support on it.
Exactly. That's why I kind of want to play it on 360.
I think if it's backwards compatible, I'm just gonna play it on my Xbox. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. All right, that's all the news we got.
Heck yeah.
Thank you
PG.
for joining, Tim. Thank you for joining, Adriano and Matt.
Was that another disdainable Matt at the end there? What was that?
Kind of was, yeah.
We'll end the show with another late show fun fact.
I actually have a question for the
God.
group that we've talked about.
Okay.
Well, you said, "Oh my God, we can cancel if you don't
No,
want
it's
to do it."
fine.
Okay.
I wanted to get to this fun fact.
Well, I'm glad I interrupted it then.
God!
Okay, so we have, and this is Marty, Ryan, and I have talked about this a lot, and you two, Adriano and Tim, do not play 76. So I want your outside perspective on this. So Fallout 76 recently announced that there are seasons. They've announced 3 seasons, and they're like a battle pass, right? Type of thing, season pass. Now, the first season, for sure, they've announced is free. The other 2 they've announced, we're not sure. Now, I have a question, and we're gonna speculate a bit as well. In Fallout 76, you have to buy the game, okay? Then you can play the game, whatever. There's also a premium shop with a premium currency called Atoms, okay? That's fine. Then there's also an optional subscription that'll give you some atoms and some other perks. That's a monthly subscription. And on top of that, let's assume, and again, this is fully an assumption, that the seasons past the first one, okay, are going to be paid for. So I want to know whether you think that's too much monetization, and or if that should be included in the Fallout First membership.
Definitely too much, and it probably should be included to some capacity. Yes.
I'm pretty sure the Fallout First membership is like widely regarded to be one of the biggest ripoffs in all of gaming history.
Yeah. I can't. I would never be able to justify doing the Fallout First membership. And so I'm trying to think, if you took out the Fallout First membership, then if you just did the season, because like Division had a free season 1 DLC, and then the season 2 they're charging.
Right.
So,
but this is just for items, and for just like rewards. Like it doesn't seem to enhance your play. It doesn't like as far as we know so far, it doesn't level you up. It doesn't give you absolutely amazing things that you can flex on everybody. It's solely like, it seems to be solely cosmetic or consumables that you can buy in the Atomic Shop right now.
this is the Fallout First subscription, or this is the first season pass?
This is the season pass, or like the first season.
I'd say it would be okay if there wasn't this already paid subscription. But if you're going to, like, I think your Fallout First members shouldn't have to pay for the seasons 2 and 3.
I agree with that.
Oh yeah, or likewise, if the Fallout First membership just didn't exist altogether and you just had the game that you paid for, you have this optional premium currency, which I guess you can sprinkle in there, whatever. And then you have this paid season passes, I guess. But hey, who knows? At one point, we thought a battle pass was crazy, and now it's the norm. We thought DLC was crazy, then it's the norm. Maybe this will be the new norm, where you buy a game, you buy a subscription to that bought game, and then you also buy the expansion packs after that.
Well, Ryan had mentioned that one of Ryan's arguments was that when I bought Fallout First, that I was not told about the seasons, and therefore, if the seasons were, say, available for atoms, which is the premium currency, if the seasons were available for atoms, that I get a certain amount of atoms per month as a part of my subscription, and therefore I could save my thing. But I could save my atoms. But my issue with that is now I have value that I have to reserve, that I originally was supposed to be used as an expenditure. I now have to reserve it and potentially wait to pay for subsequent seasons if they are indeed paid for.
Yeah, that would mess with my budgeting within game. That would absolutely fuck me up.
To clear up my point, I was basically saying that when you bought Fallout First, they listed what you got with that subscription, and you said the monthly payment is worth what they listed here, right?
Sure.
So you technically should not expect to be given those season passes for free. Now, would it be nice? Yes. Is it annoying if they still charge you for those season passes, even though you're paying monthly for the Fallout First? Yes. I'm just saying that I wouldn't expect it to be given to me just because I'm a Fallout First member.
Yeah,
well, I equated it to. Sorry to interrupt. I equated it to PlayStation Plus being like, well, you bought it and it allows you to access the games on PlayStation online. But we're going to change it, and what it's going to be is you choose 5 games that you're allowed to access online, and you have to pay for additional ones, and you can swap out those 5 games once a month. Like, technically speaking, when you bought PS Plus, you bought access. They just limited the access now.
But they're not changing what you get with Fallout First.
No, they're not. Like, that is a difference. I'll admit that in my theoretical. But when you buy Fallout First, what you're expecting is you're getting everything out of the game. Because the game, you already paid for the game. You paid for your PlayStation Plus. And then there's also atoms that you can earn, yes, but there's if you want a bunch of stuff in the Atomic Shop, which I'm sure there's a bunch of people that do, you got to pay up for that or grind for it, right? And with this season pass change, they're taking atoms away from the daily and weekly challenges to make those daily and weekly challenges actually chip away at the season pass tiers or the ranks. So now there's this multifaceted thing where if I'm paying for the future seasons, now I'm paying to play for, let's say, 100-ish hours within a limited time, because the season's only available for a limited time. So I'm paying to have the privilege of getting rewards during a limited time in which I have to invest 100-ish hours, because they said it would take 1 to 2-ish hours per rank, and like the lower ranks are going to be closer to like an hour or less, and then the future, like the later ones, because there's 100 later ones, in the 80s, 90s, or whatever, are going to be closer to 2-ish hours. So let's just say 100 hours. So I have to play 100 hours of Fallout 76 within this limited time period because I paid for it. I have a $17 or whatever it is a month subscription. They're talking Canadian dollars. And then I also paid for the game. I'm paying for PlayStation Plus. Like, this is how and then if I wanted to get something specific in the Atomic Shop, like, this is getting at, like, look at this. Like,
it's a mess.
How much is Fallout First a month?
17 something Canadian.
Are you fucking kidding me?
That's how much it is, buddy.
That's more expensive than a Netflix subscription.
Now,
well, I mean, that makes
with
sense.
the amount of atoms you get, it's not too bad. But yes, it is a
the amount of money is approximately, because there is no bundle 1-to-1 comparison, but it is approximately the amount of atoms you're getting. And I do occasionally buy atoms when I want them. So I just said, like, well, when I'm playing, I'll keep the subscription active. If I stop playing for a month, I'm just going to turn it off. Like, that's
another
ridiculous.
$17 a month on me would be detrimental. That would be brutal. $17 a month?
Here's something great. I'm scrolling.
That's almost the cost of Uplay Plus.
Now, hang on a minute here, though. If it's the only game that you're playing at the time, now it isn't my only game. I'm playing 2. I'm playing Call of Duty and this during quarantine. Right?
If it is the only game, but I'm not. I'm playing a bunch of others.
No. But this is also a different time. It's quarantine, so like there's more free time because like everyone's forced to be home. Is basically what I'm saying. So, it's one of my 2 main games that I'm playing more or less in quarantine because it's multiplayer, right? That's basically my justification for it. And then I'll just kick off the subscription when I stop playing. Like, it's not a big deal to me because also in quarantine I bought a tank of gas in 6 weeks.
I could live off, if I had to, I could live off food for $17 a week if I absolutely had to.
That's a month.
Oh, sorry, yeah, 17 a month. I could probably do that, yeah.
No, I don't think you'd be able to get the calories. Like, I think you would
beans are like
probably
70
die.
cents a can, man. You could do it.
Here's what's funny. I'm scrolling through Facebook here, and I got an ad for Fallout 76. And there's one of these like quotes in one of the reviews from Vice. It says, "The best Fallout game Bethesda has ever made."
Oh my god!
All right,
yeah,
that's it. That's all we got.
I had a philosophical question, but I'll wait till next week to ask it.
All right, here's my final fun fact for the week.
Tim, please jump in and stop him.
Help.
Nancy Reagan can palm a basketball. There you go.
I don't
Well, our
know.
hand's so
I
big.
don't get that at all.
Nancy Reagan? Reagan's wife?
You know what the best part about that one is? There's no way to disprove that.
Yeah.
Like that.
God
As
damn
far as we're concerned, that is true.
I don't need the fun facts remotely or in person.
You
if
don't
I'm
like them,
honest. Don't need them. No.
I'm
Why
going to
not?
send you one every day, personalized.
Personalized. Perfect.
All right, that's it.
Well, come on
Thanks,
now.
friends.
Let's say we're all eagerly anticipating you running the conclusion. And you're just like, all right, come on, bud. We need a Twitch like ending as well.
Endings don't exist anymore.
They did what?
No, everything's so up in the air.
What does that even mean?
There's no such thing as endings. Hey, you guys want to buy some RAM? Anyone want to buy RAM here?
What is going on here?
I got some RAM.
I'm scared.
Leave a comment in the web zone if you want to buy some RAM.
All right, Tim, you stream?
I do.
Where do you stream?
Stream twitch.tv/yeah that figures.
What do you stream?
Right now I'm playing Yakuza 0, but that's probably coming to a close relatively soon. So we'll be going back in time to a little bit more of a lighthearted title
Oh,
on the
nice.
Wii U. But that's for next time.
I
so.
guess he's playing My Time at Portia then.
Yeah, my time at Porsche is great. Yeah.
Portia? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was Portia.
No, it's dumb.
Then what? Jeez! God!
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Peace!
Bye.
Bye.